A common and very frequent conversation point that comes up in conversations is family and relationships. Because in almost every context, people will be interested to know about you, your family, relationships you have in your family. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the kind of questions and conversation points you can use to talk about this. Before we get started, hi, I'm Ajeeth from Capshine. Capshine is a revolutionary Learn It Together English fluency program. With Capshine, learning English is easy, quick, fun, affordable, and effective. And we promise a whole new you in 6 months or less. Let's talk about family. So, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about family relations and vocabulary related to that. We're going to look at some conversation topics, structures, and common expressions. Some idiomatic expressions as well related to family. Let's get started. The first question that you could ask or have asked is, how big is your family? It doesn't really ask about size, it's asking about the number of members in your family. So how do you respond to this? The construction can be, my family has X members. We are a family of so many. For example, my family has 6 members. My family consists of 5 members. Or we are a family of 3. All of these talk about the size of your family. The next question you can ask is, do you have siblings? Siblings is another word for brothers and sisters. To answer this, you could use the following construction. No, I don't. I'm an only child, which means you don't have siblings. Yes, I have so many brothers and so many sisters. For example, yes, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Yes, I have an elder brother. All these are responses to, do you have siblings? Another common question is, where does your family live? Now this depends. Maybe you live with your family, maybe you don't. So depending on this, let's look at how we can answer it. My family lives in Delhi, or they live in Bangalore. Or if they are all over the place, you could go ahead and detail every single one of them. One of my sisters lives in Texas, the other lives in Bangalore, and my parents live in Chennai. So here you're answering this question in depth, where your members live in different parts of the world and you list out where they live. Another question that you could come across is, do you live with your parents? If you're probably a student, you probably do, but if you're an adult, it could be that you're taking care of your parents, or you live with your parents with your family as well. In which case, you could either answer with, no, I live alone, or yes, I live with my parents. You could also say, I live with my parents and my sisters visit us frequently. Another common question, are you married? If you're not, well, no, I'm not. Or if you are, yes, I'm married. To give a little bit more elaboration, you could say, I am getting married next month, or I've been married for so many years. In this case, I got married last year. A follow-up question to are you married could be, how long have you been married? And for this, you use the following construction. I have been married for so many years, or I have been married since a particular date. For example, I have been married for 2 years, or I have been married since 1976. Not me, of course, but if you are, then I have been married since a particular date. Another common question is, do you have children? If you're married and you've been married for a while, that's a question that could be asked. Do you have children? So in which case you would respond to the following construction. Either you say, yes, I do, or no, I don't. Or you could go ahead and list out the number of children you have. Yes, I have 2 children. I have a boy and a girl. If you have children, a conversation point could be, how old are they? You could say, my son is 10 years old, he is 11. Or if you have a daughter and they ask you about your daughter specifically, my daughter is 8 years old, she is 2. Either of this is adequate to answer this question. Before we go forward, a quick difference between joint family and nuclear family. Sometimes people live with their families, their extended families, and this is called a joint family. A nuclear family is a family that includes parents and children. So if I were married, me, my wife, and my kids would be a nuclear family. But if it's a joint family, I would essentially be living with my parents, my sister's family, my other sister's family, maybe even cousins and other relatives, all in the same household. This used to be common practice some years, maybe a generation or two back, but these days you have more nuclear families than joint families. Let's move ahead and talk about some expressions in English associated with family. A common expression to talk about how someone is similar to another person, for example, daughter and the mother look very similar, you could say she is a spitting image of her. This means to have a strong resemblance, often to be very familiar. Look at Priya, she is the spitting image of her mother. She looks exactly like her mother, a spitting image. A father figure or a mother figure. This talks about someone who is not your parent, may not even be related to you, but they sort of play a role of a father or a mother in a specific context. For example, after I joined the company, Michael was a father figure to me. He gave me lots of valuable advice. So he was like a fatherly figure, right? A father figure. Another one is flesh and blood. This is not about meat. This is actually about relationships. When someone is flesh and blood, they're related to you by blood. They're very close, a very close relative. Like your biological sister is flesh and blood, or your father is flesh and blood, and other way around. It's hard to believe that he could treat his own flesh and blood so badly. His own blood relative, essentially. Like father, like son. This is another common expression to talk about similarity between generations. It essentially means that the son inherits the father's traits or personalities or preferences. Manoj was a great mechanic, and there's his son Rohan in his garage. Like father, like son. Great, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, make sure you try and use what you've learned in everyday conversations. If you aren't a subscribed member already, you can try out our free membership to access all the different learning tools, games, and services that we provide to our members. You can do this by going to capshine.com or downloading the app from the Play Store. Thanks for watching.